Silence can be the most powerful force you ever experience. It is not emptiness, it is a vessel for clarity, energy, and protection. Today, I will reveal why the words you speak or don't speak can shape the unseen currents of your life. On September 16th, the cosmos moves in a rare alignment, a moment when stillness becomes a shield and every word carries weight far beyond its sound. In this video, you will learn why chosen ones must hold their speech on this day, how silence can amplify your personal power, and the hidden ways energy shifts when the mind withdraws from chatter. Few understand that restraint in speech is not merely discipline, it is a gateway to heightened awareness, to sensing patterns others cannot see, and to protecting your spirit from subtle forces that seek to disturb your path. You will uncover Shaolin secrets rarely spoken aloud, why saying nothing can sharpen intuition, fortify mental focus, and even influence the world around you without a single word. There is a quiet strength in standing still, in letting the day unfold while guarding your energy like a sacred flame. Stay with me until the end, and you will discover the profound ways this simple act of silence can transform your inner world and protect the essence of who you are. The teachings I share are drawn from ancient wisdom, but they are alive today, guiding those ready to master themselves in ways few ever notice. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, where the fire of inner mastery burns quietly yet powerfully. Subscribe now and join me on a journey that honors the strength of stillness, the discipline of the mind, and the untold power within every chosen soul. Words are not merely sounds, they are currents of energy that ripple through your being. Each syllable carries a weight, a vibration that reaches far beyond the moment it leaves your lips. To speak without necessity is to scatter these currents, to release fragments of your life force into the world where they may be absorbed, distorted, or wasted. I have walked the quiet paths where the mind learns to move as the body does, deliberate, precise, aware. The chosen ones understand that energy is sacred. It is the river that feeds your purpose, the fire that illuminates your path. When you speak without intent, that fire dims, not because of the world, but because you have allowed it to flow outward, untethered, leaving your inner reservoir vulnerable. Silence, in its highest form, is protection. It is not withdrawal. It is the building of a barrier strong enough to hold the storms of other people's chaos at bay. Negative vibrations, envy, fear, doubt, these cling to words like shadows, waiting to enter a mind that is unguarded. By restraining speech, you do more than preserve energy. You create a field that cannot easily be breached, a sanctuary where clarity and purpose remain undisturbed. Even a single unnecessary conversation can shift the balance of your day, the direction of your thoughts, the alignment of your spirit. The wise do not rush to fill silence with noise. They allow moments to breathe, to settle, to reveal what truly matters beneath the surface of distraction. Those who are chosen must honor the unseen power of every word, for energy is life, and life is sacred. To protect it is to remain aligned with your path, untouched by the currents that pull the unprepared into chaos. In this quiet vigilance, the strength of 1,000 spoken words is contained within the calm, deliberate stillness of a mind that knows its own value. There is a quiet intelligence that speaks only in the absence of words. When the mouth rests, the mind awakens and the senses stretch beyond the ordinary. Subtle signals, often drowned out by chatter, reveal themselves to those who wait in stillness, patterns in the movements of people, in the shifts of energy, in the delicate rhythm of the day. Ancient Shaolin masters taught that observation carries more weight than reaction. To act without seeing is to stumble blindly. To speak without understanding is to scatter what could have been harnessed. Silence is not passivity. It is a discipline, a sharpening of perception, a turning of attention inward so the outer world can be read with clarity. In quiet, the hidden threads connecting events, choices, and people become visible, weaving a tapestry that the untrained eye cannot grasp. By holding speech, the mind no longer chases every distraction, every provocation. It becomes a lens, focusing on what matters most. Intuition rises in the space created by stillness. Thoughts that once screamed for attention now settle, revealing insights that are subtle yet powerful. Decisions emerge from this inner clarity, guided by a sense of alignment rather than impulse. Even in the smallest gestures, the quiet mind notices what others overlook: the tone of a voice, the shift of weight, the pause between words. These carry meaning far greater than spoken explanations. To remain silent is to step into a rhythm that honors patience and awareness, allowing the world to reveal itself in its true form. Mastery begins here, in the calm watching, in the deliberate restraint. The energy that might have been lost in needless speech is preserved, refined, and directed. Over time, the quiet becomes a strength so profound that action itself seems effortless, as though life itself responds to a mind that listens before it moves. The mind is a temple, and every word spoken carelessly is a door left open. Outsiders, carrying their doubts, fears, and distractions, can slip through these gaps, seeding unrest where clarity once reigned. Each conversation, each idle remark has the potential to disturb the quiet order within, fracturing the sense of alignment that is the foundation of true strength. To speak only when necessary is to erect walls around this sacred space. In silence, an internal stronghold emerges, walls built not of stone, but of awareness, discipline, and presence. Here nothing enters that is not invited, nothing lingers that does not serve the deeper purpose. The quiet mind becomes a sanctuary, a place where clarity is preserved, intuition is honored, and energy is concentrated. Ancient masters understood this principle intuitively. In the monasteries, novices were taught that restraint in speech was a form of sovereignty, a way to claim authority over one's own spirit. To allow the world to dictate the flow of words is to surrender fragments of power, little by little, until the mind is cluttered with the echoes of others rather than the voice of its own truth. Saying nothing is not weakness. It is discipline. It is mastery over impulse, over the restless chatter that tempts even the strongest. In cultivating this sacred quiet, the mind becomes untouchable, a fortress where decisions are made with precision, where judgment is unclouded, and where personal sovereignty is absolute. The chosen ones learn that the power of their presence is measured not by how loudly they speak, but by how firmly they stand in stillness. In protecting the mind, they preserve the essence of who they are, a consciousness aligned with purpose, immune to the subtle disturbances of the world. In this internal stronghold, the self becomes unwavering, unshakable, and entirely whole. Some days carry a weight that is felt more than seen, a subtle current in the flow of time that aligns with the deepest parts of the self. September 16th is one such day, a moment when the energies of the cosmos encourage reflection, stillness, and careful attention. It is a day that whispers for quiet, for withdrawal from unnecessary noise, so that the mind may tune into the rhythms that guide life beyond the surface. Ancient Shaolin and Taoist teachings both recognize the power of timing. Actions aligned with natural cycles of the moon, the sun, or the unseen forces that move through the world hold far greater potency than those performed at random. The masters teach that when energy is scattered in haste or frivolity, it loses focus. Words spoken without necessity, especially on days charged with spiritual significance, disperse strength that could have been concentrated for insight, growth, or inner transformation. On such days, silence becomes a practice of alignment. It is not merely a pause from speech, it is a deliberate attunement to the currents of life that often go unnoticed. The quiet mind resonates with subtle vibrations, sensing opportunities for clarity, healing, and guidance. Each thought preserved, each word withheld, strengthens the connection to purpose and cultivates inner power that cannot be hurried or forced. The discipline to refrain, to hold energy within, is a form of mastery. It requires patience, awareness, and trust in the invisible order of the universe. By honoring these potent moments, one participates in a flow larger than personal desire, larger than immediate distraction. The stillness of the day becomes a canvas on which higher understanding can be painted, a sacred space where inner work can deepen and the mind, undisturbed by trivial chatter, can attune to the rhythms that shape destiny. Thoughts are like ripples across a still pond, easily disturbed by careless words. Each time speech is offered without care, the mind mirrors that scattering, jumping from one distraction to another, losing the clarity that is essential for mastery. Silence, on the other hand, demands discipline. It requires the mind to gather itself, to settle like water before it can reflect truth with precision. In the monasteries, novices were taught that restraint in speech is training for the mind itself. By speaking less, the mind sharpens, focus deepens, and awareness expands. Decisions become clearer, reactions more deliberate, and action more powerful. A single well-timed word carries the weight of 100 idle remarks, for it emerges from a place of stillness rather than haste. Concentration is cultivated in these quiet moments. When the world clamors for attention, the silent mind is like a blade held steady, ready to cut through confusion and act with precision when the time demands it. The chosen ones understand that energy wasted on needless chatter is energy unavailable for the moments that truly shape destiny. Every thought preserved, every word measured, strengthens the connection between intention and action. Mindfulness in speech is more than etiquette. It is an extension of inner mastery. To choose when to speak and when to remain silent is to command the mind rather than be commanded by it. It is the practice of aligning thought, energy, and action so that every gesture, every word carries purpose. Over time, silence becomes not a void, but a form of strength, an invisible discipline that sharpens perception, deepens understanding, and transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for profound insight and decisive action. Words carry weight far beyond their sound. A careless phrase can ignite tension, stir hidden fears, or awaken emotions long buried. In both the speaker and the listener, reactions ripple outward, often unseen until the consequences arrive. Each utterance has the potential to disturb equilibrium, to pull the mind away from calm into the turbulence of emotion. Silence, in contrast, is a shield. It allows the mind to remain steady, to observe rather than react, and to navigate the currents of life without being swept away. In moments of chaos, the quiet mind becomes an anchor, holding a space where clarity can emerge, even when the world outside rages. By withholding speech, energy is preserved. Focus is maintained, and the subtle rhythms of thought remain aligned with intention rather than impulse. Shaolin practice teaches that emotional control is the foundation of true inner strength. Mastery is not in suppressing feelings, but in cultivating the ability to witness them without losing composure. Words spoken without restraint often betray the mind's unrest. Silence, however, reflects a mastery over both thought and feeling. It is the practice of observing storms without being consumed, of allowing life to move through its cycles while remaining unmoved at the center. This discipline is neither easy nor passive. It requires awareness, patience, and constant practice. Each moment of silence, each decision to withhold reaction reinforces the mind's resilience. Over time, the calm cultivated in quiet becomes a power that words alone cannot convey, a presence that commands respect, clarity that guides action, and an inner strength that remains untouched by external turbulence. In this way, silence is not absence. It is mastery. It allows the chosen mind to act with precision, to engage when necessary, and to maintain harmony within, even amidst the chaos that surrounds it. True knowledge does not come from chasing the noise of the world or echoing the opinions of others. It rises quietly from within, a subtle current that guides those who are willing to listen. The mind must first learn stillness, for only in silence can the faint whispers of insight be heard above the clamor of distraction. When words are held, attention turns inward. Thoughts settle like sediment in a clear stream, revealing patterns and truths that are invisible in haste. Intuition begins to speak, not as a voice that commands, but as a presence that points, nudges, and illuminates the path. The universe communicates in subtle ways, through fleeting impressions, sudden clarity, or the quiet recognition of what aligns with purpose. To hear it, one must resist the urge to react immediately, must allow space for the guidance to emerge naturally. Chosen ones understand that life cannot be navigated on impulse alone. Each decision, Each step is strengthened when guided by the inner dialogue cultivated in silence. The mind trained in observation becomes a compass, discerning between what is necessary and what is distraction. By listening first, action becomes deliberate rather than reactionary, precise rather than scattered, a reflection of alignment rather than compulsion. Ancient masters spoke of this practice as a form of self-mastery. To retreat inward, to honor the counsel of intuition over the pull of external noise, is to step into sovereignty over one's own life. It is the cultivation of a clarity that cannot be shaken by circumstance, a perception that sees the hidden patterns others overlook, and a connection to forces greater than the self that guide with quiet certainty. In this sacred stillness, the mind learns to move with wisdom. It acts with confidence, guided not by what is loudest in the moment, but by what is truest within, navigating life with a precision born of deep listening and disciplined presence. Some people move through the world carrying energies that ripple far beyond their awareness. Their doubts, fears, and frustrations leave trails that can disturb the balance of anyone nearby. To engage without care is to invite these currents into your own mind, scattering focus and weakening the alignment of your spirit. Words, even polite or casual ones, can act as gateways, allowing these discordant vibrations to seep into the quiet chambers of your consciousness. Silence becomes a practice of protection. By speaking only when necessary, the mind refuses consent to these external disturbances. It is a subtle yet powerful form of detachment, an acknowledgement that not every interaction demands participation and that some energies are best observed from a distance rather than absorbed. In this restraint, the chosen mind preserves clarity, maintaining a field where intention and purpose remain undisturbed. Shaolin masters taught that detachment is not separation from life, but mastery over the influence of life on the self. To discern when to engage and when to withhold speech is to navigate the world without surrendering your inner authority. This discipline trains the mind to recognize subtle currents, to sense when energies are aligned and when they threaten to pull focus away from the path of growth. In practice, this means observing without reacting, listening without absorbing, and speaking only when alignment calls for it. Each moment of silence reinforces the boundaries of the mind, strengthening the invisible fortress that shields the spirit from external interference. Over time, the discipline of stillness transforms into a shield, an invisible armor that allows one to move through the world fully present, yet untouched by the turbulence carried by others. Through restraint and mindful detachment, the chosen mind maintains sovereignty, navigating life with precision, energy intact, and spirit undisturbed by the discordant frequencies that surround it. Energy is a currency of the soul, subtle yet powerful, and how it is spent determines the course of one's life. Every word spoken, every reaction given, draws from this reserve. When energy is scattered on idle chatter or unnecessary interactions, its potency diminishes, leaving the mind restless and the spirit diluted. Silence, in its highest form, becomes a vessel for preservation, a way to gather strength for the moments that truly demand it. In the quiet, energy concentrates. Like water flowing into a single channel, it gains force and direction. Focused energy does more than sustain. It attracts alignment, opportunities, and even protection that would remain invisible to the distracted mind. The disciplined practice of holding back speech allows the currents of life to respond to a mind that is prepared, alert, and centered. What is scattered returns stronger when contained and applied with intent. Ancient masters taught that restraint is not merely about withdrawal, but about cultivating readiness. The wise do not act from impulse or distraction. They act from presence and precision. By withholding unnecessary interaction, one creates a field of power that radiates without force. It is a quiet magnetism, a natural draw toward clarity, influence, and circumstances that align with purpose. This principle of deliberate energy extends beyond speech. Every thought, gesture, and decision gains weight when the mind is unfragmented. The silence that preserves energy becomes a tool for mastery, teaching patience, discernment, and the art of timing. In learning to hold, the chosen mind discovers that power is not in constant action, but in measured, intentional movement. Through quiet restraint, energy transforms from something easily lost into a force that shapes destiny. Withholding words, protecting focus, and preserving the essence of the self becomes a discipline that amplifies personal power, allowing action to emerge not from chaos, but from precision, alignment, and inner strength. Silence is more than the absence of words. It is a practice of mastery, alignment, and protection for the mind and spirit. On September 16th, chosen ones are invited to step back, to let go of unnecessary chatter, and to turn inward, attuning themselves to higher guidance that often whispers only in stillness. By embracing these moments, the mind grows sharper, the spirit steadier, and the path of purpose becomes clearer. The lesson is simple, yet profound. Not every word needs to be spoken, and not every reaction requires release. In honoring stillness, energy is preserved, clarity is gained, and a deeper connection to life's rhythms is revealed. This is the quiet strength of the chosen, an inner power that moves without disturbance, acts without distraction, and flows with intention. Let this wisdom guide daily life. Practice moments of silence, observe before responding, and allow the mind to rest in its own calm. Even in ordinary days, small acts of restraint cultivate focus, presence, and peace, creating a foundation for personal mastery that carries through every choice and action. May the stillness you nurture today become the strength that guides your tomorrow. If this teaching resonates, support our journey by liking this video and subscribing to Shaolin Soulfire, where the fire of inner mastery burns quietly, steadily, and with purpose.